Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So listen, Artur Beterbiev, Bivol, and Yarde, nothing wrong with all of them mixing it up. But right now, nobody wants to see Beterbiev and Yarde. Like, this is a complete mismatch. So the bottom line, is when it comes to Beterbiev, he just hasn't met his match. I think, what is he, 19-0, 19 KOs now? Or 18-0, 18 KOs? Something outrageous. And we're just not sure if he's ever going to meet his match when it comes to the ring. A lot of people thought Joe Smith Jr. was going to be the guy to really test him, because Joe Smith Jr. had a size advantage. He had, some would say, a strength advantage. And we talked about the powerful right hand that he possessed. But when you look at the fight, none of it mattered. Beterbiev was just too precise. His punches were too damaging. And you got to understand, there's a difference of having a sound amateur background and someone who didn't. When you come from the amateur world, you have a lot of experience. You know how to deal with situations. You know how to pace yourself. You're used to seeing different styles. And to me, that made a huge difference in the fight. You can just see one guy looked experienced, calm, poised, had a game plan, knew what his strengths were. And the other guy looked lost. But I think Beterbiev, some people just see him as a brawler, but he has an underrated ring IQ. And when you look at how precise his punches are, you gotta understand that there's a science to what he's doing in there, man. And you just have to give him his respect. But when it comes to Bivol, Beterbiev and Bivol have to get it on. Like, they really should. I think when it comes to Bivol, he's really on everyone's radar right now after upsetting Canelo. And we know Canelo was, I think some people feel he still is, but a lot of saying he's the former pound-for-pound king just because he took a loss. But a meeting between Beterbiev and Bivol would not only crown the undisputed light heavyweight champion, but it would represent one of the best style matchups in boxing. Now, it's not on the immediate horizon at all. It isn't. Because, somehow Yarde has managed to get himself in the mix. Which, to be honest with you, I think that fight was agreed on and everything. Yarde, Beterbiev, before Beterbiev and Joe Smith got in the ring, because that's why Yarde was there. Then at the end of it, not even within 24 hours, they announced the fight had been made. So all of that was in the plans. So they probably offered Beterbiev some good money for him to go ahead and commit. Plus, knowing Bivol was going to be busy. He just had to, stay active, and he's chasing the big money. So I think that's what happened, is they already had an agreement before the fight between Beterbiev and Smith, which isn't uncommon. But to me, they should have just made the announcement in the ring that night, like what you see it happen. It's not uncommon for that to happen, but they didn't do that. But again, when you're lining up Beterbiev to defend, what does he have, 3 titles now against England's Anthony Yarde, who's the WBO mandatory challenger. So that's kind of how these sanctioning bodies screw these guys. You're someone's mandatory. You don't really want to take that fight, but now they go to purse bid for some low offer like 100,000, 200,000, and now you either take the fight or you give up the belt. So this is how we as fight fans are deprived of the fights we want to see, because these sanctioning bodies push the mandatories on these guys and threaten them with these purse bids. So it is what it is. But what we know right now, the deal is solidified now, and the fight's supposed to be taking place October 29th in London. And it's just, it's just interesting to me how Anthony Yarde, who couldn't even handle Kovalev's power, is going to get in here with a guy who has knocked out 18 wins, 18 of his opponents. All 18 have gone down. How is Anthony Yarde going to get here and do any kind of damage to someone who hasn't been able to damage him? So I'm just not seeing Yarde being able to do anything. And Beterbiev even went and said, he has 2 unification fights. Unification fights are more interesting to him, more motivating. He prefers a unification fight because he wants to be undisputed. But at the end of the day, he just has to take whatever's in front of him because of, like I said, those mandatories, and just to avoid the whole purse bid. So I don't know, but Yarde feels that fighting Kovalev prepared him for what he's about to encounter with Beterbiev. I'm not really sure, but what he says is you can't get a better preparation than that. He was younger, mentally and physically. He doesn't feel he was as strong as he is now, and he thinks he's just come a long way with the experience, and he's mentally stronger. And that's fair to say. I would tend to agree with that. He is older. He kind of been there, done that. Kind of knows how to deal with situations. Kind of knows if he gets hurt, not to stay there in the pocket in the line of fire, exchanging when you're already hurt. I think the experience has helped him. Don't think it's going to help him against Beterbiev. But some say, hey, Beterbiev is not young. He's not a spring chicken. Beterbiev turns 38 next January, and although he's seeking a genuine major fight that could fit his immense talent, is that undisputed bout between Bivol. It doesn't mean that's going to happen, but as of right now, he's on the cusp of the pound-for-pound list, and is boxing's only champion with a 100% KO record, and that's a big deal. Now, for some of you guys who didn't know this, Bivol is a guy who's never ever been knocked down. He has been hurt. Beterbiev has been knocked down twice. Now, the thing is this. You can't hold that against Beterbiev and say, well, he's gone down twice, then Bivol's going to drop him. You got to look at the way they fight. Bivol doesn't fight a kind of style that puts him at risk. He's a boxer puncher. Beterbiev just walks through you. As a result, he's right there in front of you to get hit. And if you got a hard shot and you can hurt him, you can put him down. Doesn't mean you're going to beat him. It just means he's susceptible. He's vulnerable. And that's his style. Chances make champions, and that's why he has 3 belts. Now, when you look at Yarde, is Yarde going to be able to keep Beterbiev off him? Because Beterbiev is going to walk right through him. Does Yarde have the kind of pop to discourage Beterbiev? We haven't seen anyone be able to do that. Now, another thing I wanted to point out, Beterbiev fought as heavyweight when he was in the Olympics, and as an amateur, because in his country they didn't want him to fight at a light heavyweight. So he went up and fought at heavyweight. So it's like they didn't want him to compete. But he said, okay, I'll fix that. He fought at heavyweight. So that's another thing that I think plays to his advantage, is he's used to fighting big guys. He's mentally strong. That shows you that there's another wrinkle in his style that where these other guys don't have. That's something else he brings to the table. He used to fight at heavyweight. Light heavyweight is nothing. So that could be another thing where he's like, if I took those shots, these guys can't do anything to me. And he's showing it. So he's walking through these guys. So I get it. The money, I get the mandatories. I get it. Bivol is out there. But what we don't want to have is an opportunity miss. Like right now, Bivol Beterbiev has the kind of attention like what AJ Wilder had. But that fight didn't happen. And it's so unfortunate. Look at the way everything played out. I mean, everyone still did good, but the fight is still an interesting fight, but it's not the same. That fight, man, had built to a head where that could have been like a $200 million fight. But it is what it is. Greed from Eddie Hearn's part, greed from the zone part, and they tried to, they treated Deontay Wilder like he was dumb, like he was ignorant, like the Showtime guys and his team were inexperienced. And, they protected Wilder because he would have went into these $40 million fights, and Josh would have been making $100 million, 150 plus. And that's foul. And it was a two-fight deal, guaranteed $40 million. And, it's like with David Chappelle, where he didn't want to continue the Chappelle show. You're going to give me $50 million, right? If you're going to give me that much, what are you guys making? He walked away from it. Can't blame him. Same thing with Deontay Wilder. And then to hear the zone guys come back and say they were wrong. That's crazy. So what we don't want to have now is the same situation. Plus, Bivol looks like, he could be vulnerable to lose a fight if he gets caught. You know, because Smith had him hurt bad at the end of a round. If there was 30 more seconds, Bivol would have been knocked out cold. So we just have to understand what we have in front of us. We have an excellent fight. I just hope they don't screw the pooch and not give us what we want. But at the same time, Beterbiev is going to be right in front of Yarde. I just don't think Yarde has what it takes to clip him. And Beterbiev is going to be right there trying to walk through Bivol. Bivol like has a little more pop. Make you respect him, because Canelo wasn't just trying to walk through him. Canelo was moving back and respecting that power. So I think with Beterbiev and Bivol, we'll see how it goes. But at the same time, if Beterbiev can get in close and land his shots, we'll see if Bivol likes it and if he starts to whoop like the other 18, or soon to be 19 with Yarde. But I don't know. I just hope they make the fight. It's just a failure, in my opinion, for us not to get this fight right now. The fight that should be next for the 175-pound crown should be Beterbiev, Bivol, but more to come. We'll see after October, after Bivol and Beterbiev fight. Beterbiev and Yarde fight. See whoever Bivol fights, and then hopefully going into early 2023, we'll get the undisputed showdown between these two. But that being said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the channel. Shout out to all the veterans, and y'all keep safe. I'm in the breeze.